It was May 2023 when I first heard the name Jenna Silver. From what I could tell from the scattered voicemail she left me, she was an independent filmmaker looking to hire me to shoot a behind-the-scenes doc for her new short film. She had no internet presence and gave me nothing except an address and a date. Hardly a prime client, but it was paying, and that's good enough for me. And so I found myself out on a shoot with no idea what lay ahead. The day started ordinarily enough. Jenna welcomed me into her house, which I discovered was to be our set for the day.
You want to buy some grass?
Jenna was friendly, but I couldn't help but feel there was something off. The first surprise of the day came when I was introduced to our cast. 4 Playmobil figurines, which Jenna insisted strictly on referring to as Doris, Camilla, Dennis, and Fenton.
Oh shit.
We busied ourselves in developing a method of animation for our performers, and this gained me my first insight into the mind of our director. So what is it about cardboard?
I don't like to touch it. I don't like to touch it. It's fine, I'll touch it, but I'm not. Oh, it just goes through me. I just don't. I just hate it. Done.
With this completed, we anxiously awaited the arrival of our DOP, who I was informed would be the only crew member joining us that day.
Where the fuck are you?
Sorry. Can you
Yeah.
help unload
Come
the car?
in. Oh, unload the car.
Yeah.
Ed Armstrong was a quiet man, mid-20s, and clearly more comfortable behind the camera than as its subject.
I can touch it.
At first I thought that this was the whole story, but I soon started to believe that something else underlay his condition. Some secret reservoir just below the surface. Still, the mood was jolly as we set up our studio, and I was impressed by the professionalism of the rig.
So good.
Simulated dappled sunlight on a set I was told was constructed by one of the top production designers of the city. Quickly enough we were ready to start shooting, and Jenna happily called the slate, despite there being no audio with which to sync.
Scene 1, take 1, action.
I got the impression this was done for my benefit, a performance of propriety that stood out against the otherwise highly professional atmosphere. Perhaps, I noted, with the addition of my documentarian lens, our plastic cast were not the only theatre at play that day. The eyes of another audience were felt everywhere. So, Jenna, I'd like to say thank you, first of all, for just inviting me on to document the project.
You're privileged.
It's untraditional for a project of this scale to have a behind-the-scenes documentarian. Can I just ask why you wanted to bring someone on board?
Because it's a masterpiece. My ideas are from God. They come directly into my brain from a higher power. I know. I have to make them. I'm literally channeling the Almighty. Are you questioning God? Would you question God? If God came down and made a film, would you say that won't be a hit?
Some have described your collaborative attitude as pointlessly aggressive. What would you say to that criticism?
I, first of all, wouldn't speak to those people. But if anything, I think I would say I don't intend to collaborate at any time. If I was collaborating badly, that was a mistake on my behalf for any collaboration having occurred.
That's interesting because your art so often contains themes of community and friendship. So
Yes,
to attack
yes.
it at such an independent attitude is fascinating.
Yeah, friendship is very important for me in the films.
Do you have anyone you would consider a friend? It had become clear to me the sort of individual I was involved with, and as production continued, Jenna became more irrational and aggressive. One moment she would be appreciative, the next admonishing, jubilant, then vexed. Not even Ed, in his strident professionalism and perfectionism, seemed immune to these rages. each compliment taken with the anticipation of the repudiation to come.
You don't need to understand, okay? You just need to fucking do what I say.
This only compounded as the day went on. No take was good enough, and the standards of success seemed ever shifting.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kid's film.
Ed seemed to take all this in his stride, but I was shaken. A sort of Kubrickian mania seemed to have overcome our director.
Do it again! And that's why this is mine then.
A feeling that only intensified when I overheard her alone on set.
For fuck's sake, Leslie! Camilla is like, do you not know what sort of person she is? She's like, yes, she's old, but she's like well put together, and that's why, look at Doris's clothes. She doesn't have the clothes. Look, I just need you to be, this is really short. It's not even like a long film or anything. Fenton is behaving perfectly well. In fact, the fucking dog is better than any of you put together.
After this, I was quickly ejected from set. My services no longer required. Hello?
Frankie, it's Jenna.
It's Jenna. What? It's 5 a.m.
I need your footage.
What?
I need to review all the footage from the shoot to establish the narrative.
Fine. I'll send it over later.
No, now.
I can't.
Send everything now or you don't get paid.
What?
Do it now!
Fearing for my livelihood, I sent over the footage. It was only later in the day that I realised my error. Talk me through how you first came to be involved in this project.
Well, Jenna came to me. She had sort of an idea for a script, sort of basic outline of it, and yeah, I was interested in working on it, and so we had a few meetings and developed it together.
How have you found the collaborative process so far?
Good. No, yeah, Jen's been good to work with. She's very energetic, has a lot of ideas. Yeah, willing to listen to other people.
She's got I've noticed just on set today, quite an aggressive directorial style. How do you find that is to work with on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, yeah, it's quite assertive, but it's preferable to a director who doesn't know what they want.
Would you consider working with Jen again? Thank you for speaking with me. Would you like to share what it's been like working on this set?
It's been an absolute nightmare. Jen is a tyrant. She abuses her power and constant threats of physical violence if her demands are not met exactly.
Could you give some examples of any specific incidents that have occurred on one of Jen's sets? Please take your time. You're in a safe space.
So there are stories going around about a gaffer she once worked with who told her something she wanted couldn't be done. Has never been heard from since.
Do you have any advice for anyone watching this film who may be in contact with Jen, or Jen has reached out to them to potentially work on one of her upcoming projects?
Run.
I had endangered my source, an unforgivable breach of journalistic integrity. My mind swam with the myriad possibilities. Surely Jenna couldn't be so unhinged as to be dangerous. My source must have been exaggerating. But even so, I should warn them. But I had no means of reaching out. My only point of contact had been Jenna, who kept details of production a closely guarded secret. Then the message came in. Was it too good to be true? Possibly so. But in the interest of protecting my source, I had to agree, if only to try and explain and redirect any recriminations towards me. But I had to protect myself. So in a rush, I edited together this film and sent it to an old friend as insurance, to be released if he doesn't hear from me. I pray that you never see it.